enough of the history. Now, what we will do with it, the course overview. What will we cover? I'm planning to go over basics of the learning theory, so we can understand what is learning and how we address that in machine learning specifically. And we will also go through an arguably subjective choice of most important or maybe more advanced algorithms that I think you need to understand how they work in order to understand how to reason and think about other learning algorithms. And here and there I will sprinkle some information about what the field recently learned on top of the classical ML, or classical machine learning approaches, which includes the revelation, you probably, who came to the field just recently, SGD or stochastic gradient descent is all you know about, but believe me, there were times when it wasn't the winner, it wasn't the only, or not even the favorite algorithm to use for optimization of functions. So also what we learned recently in optimization, local minima, very bad, very important beasts to fight, but we learned that local minima in overparameterized models are not as bad as they seem, and we can always get convergence. Then another one is, another concept is bias variance trade-off, and what we recently learned that just talking about bias variance trade-off, and if you don't know some of the terms, don't be afraid. If you do all your homework and pass all the quizzes, you will eventually get lectures that where I will talk about all of these concepts that I'm mentioning here. So bias variance trade-off turns out to be an incomplete story. And well, and another one that I just said is that reinforcement learning is not quite dead. Probably I'm not going to talk about reinforcement learning in this class unless we cover all of the materials pretty quickly and have a few lectures or a lecture left. But still, it's good to know about. Maybe you will be able to use reinforcement learning in your project because the class is structured such that there are a few learning possibilities, which I will talk about in one of the next slides. So if I were to throw all of the basic foundational algorithms on one slide, I would do it this way. So what we're gonna learn is on this slide, well, we'll spend quite some time using or talking about what is learning. Come on. Right here, yes, we'll spend some time talking about this learning theory, as I said. And we'll cover various learning algorithms, perceptron, logistic regression, support vector machines, in quite greater detail, so you understand the principles behind linear models. We'll also talk about optimization learning, or optimizing parameters, gradient descent, maximum likelihood, maximum a posteriori, map estimation. We'll have an SGD lecture, and we'll talk about the powerful gradient computation that all of you who have ever used any deep learning packages, frameworks rather, such as PyTorch or TensorFlow, and of course I recommend using PyTorch. It's much easier to do research in, but if you're in the industry and only running what somebody else developed for you, of course use TensorFlow. It's much more optimized for industry applications. But how the purpose of this class, and probably it's important to mention, don't expect me to teach you programming. Don't expect me to teach you Lego, like, oh, okay, combine these things and you will get a result. This is kind of maybe a good undergraduate tutorial class that would teach all of you, doing, putting things together, cut and pasting from Stack Overflow and getting your code run, and then falling flat on your face, the first mistake appears, and then you have no idea how to debug it and understand what's going on. I'm not going to do that. What I will try, and my hope, is that you walk away from this class understanding some of the basic principles behind modern machine learning, behind what is working in industry and in various research applications as well. So because I think that knowing what's going on behind, what drives the decisions, what drives the failures of the algorithms, is very important for your ability to solve problems. And the more, the stronger you'll grow as problem solvers, the better chance you have at building a good career, a successful career in industry or in academia. And of course, machine learning problems are only one kind of problems. And I just have to say to my defense that I won't be able to teach you to solve all possible problems. But we'll try. For example, in the project, one of the problems that you will have to solve is actually people's problem, how to communicate within a team. Just let's talk about it a little later. So then in this class also how to work with the data, like various matrix factorization algorithms, and then we'll talk about various models for modeling data sets, such as nonlinear embeddings, and various classifiers, and kernel density estimate is important, excuse me. Okay. Here's an overview, lecture by lecture. So what will happen, and I need to repeat that again if you didn't read my email, but I hope you did, and I hope you're listening to me right now will send me your nicknames for reporting your grades. One of the things, there are several components, and we'll come back to them on the next slide, several components in the test column right here. Look here. So one is quizzes. Another one is homework. And another one is project and exam. So we'll have 2 exams, and we'll have 1 project, and we'll have, I think, 5 homeworks. So quizzes, they're sort of a necessity of COVID. Thanks to COVID, all of this asynchronous stuff, you will listen to my lecture at your leisure anytime you like. But in order for me to make sure that you do listen to the lecture and I don't waste my time recording it, and if you don't, at least you know the material, I will give you light quizzes. Well, first of all, it'll ask questions just about just simple stuff, nothing in depth. It's not an exam, it's not to solve something, it's just did you attend the class sort of thing. And also it gives me an opportunity to put Easter eggs. For example, I could ask in the quiz, what plant did I draw in the lecture? And multiple choice would be a tree, a bush, or a flower. And well, yeah, that's fun. I can insert Easter eggs. Only for that alone, it's a good justification to make quizzes necessarily part of the course. This is how the grade will split. And again, homework, work together on the homework. But I will turn on plagiarism system, and if you're caught plagiarizing, sorry, read the syllabus, 0 grade, or I'll send you to the department to figure out what's going on. Please do not plagiarize, do not copy each other's answers, just discuss them together. Homework is your chance to understand stuff and communicate with each other, figuring out the problem, but not wake up 30 minutes before the deadline and just copy from your friend. And hey, friend, please don't let your friend copy from your work. You're doing them bad service. Exams are there. I think we do need those exams. They're just like, ideally they would be in class. Don't use anything, no notes. Well, notes maybe, but no books, no sources. Just some humbling experience, so you understand really how much you know. But now, given the situation of asynchrony, I'll think about it. Exams may be sort of longer, not timed exercises, but I'll think about it. Maybe not. Maybe just a real quiz, like multiple choice or lots of questions. Write down the answers. Most likely, this is most likely outcome. And again, homework and exams and quizzes, they're all about learning the concepts, the theory, understanding the machine learning, and having some practical understanding. Homeworks will contain some programming tasks. Python only, please. And homeworks have to be done in LaTeX because, well, it's grad school. And it's an advanced course, and there will be a lot of math. How else do you express equations? Please, LaTeX. But the project is a different beast. The project gives you an opportunity to apply all of what we talk about and explore beyond the methods that we discuss here in the class. That gives you a chance to be a little creative, and that gives you a chance to sort of understand how theory maps to practice. The projects should be fun, but that's a separate discussion. There will be a subsection on the project I will tell you about probably the next lecture. The quizzes, everyday quizzes or every lecture quizzes are binary. What does that mean? Binary is easy. It's thoughtless process. You don't have to think about what you're getting, or you don't have to argue with me or get extra points. It's easy. Less than 70% of questions right, fail the quiz. And the quiz, no partial credit, ever. Same, but said otherwise, fail more than 30% total quizzes, then you lose 10% of the final grade. Quizzes amount to 10% of the grade. And if you lose, say, we have 24 lectures total. That means we have 24 quizzes. If you fail 8 quizzes or more, well, actually 7, but to be generous to you, let's say if you fail 8 or more, then you will lose 10% of the final grade. If the final grade is 100%, if you lose 10% of the final grade, that means you're getting B or no more than B. So please take those quizzes seriously, and believe me, I'll try to make them just sort of notional of what was in the lecture, nothing about real test of knowledge. Although we'll see how that comes. And one more time, no partial credit on the quiz. It's binary. Well, another thing is relative ranking. Send me your private nicknames as soon as possible if you haven't done so, because it's going to be fun. I do want you to see where you stand early. If you're if you're falling behind the rest of the class, I don't want you to be surprised. I don't want 70% of the class getting A's and you're getting a D and in a surprise. If you see, well, apparently not all people see their own problems. So that's why everyone send me your nickname that only you know, and I will publish a sorted list of your grades as we go through quizzes, as we go through homeworks and all other exam assignments, and then you will see where you stand, and hopefully I'll get some competition going. But of course, don't get too excited about that. Just focus on your own education and complete your own tasks, and just try to defeat yourself, not your buddies around you. Prerequisites. Ability to program in your favorite language. I assume that the computer science student who is taking an advanced course can program in anything programmable. But it's worth mentioning. Anything programmable includes Python. So please program in Python. Program your homeworks in Python. Easier to check, and we'll just stay at that. You're also required to have basic knowledge of calculus, linear algebra, optimization theory, probability, and statistics. We will have one lecture, a refresher for all of that. Maybe all, maybe partially. But it's not enough if you already haven't heard or haven't worked with each of those topics in some depth. So please brush up if you don't know if any of those words are unfamiliar or any of those topics are not familiar. The books, I will use whatever. I can't just tell you, okay, here's one book, and I will just follow and stick to that one book. I will use different sources. I will try to link them for you in my slides so you can click and read and so on. But I will try to incorporate information about latest research as I find needed. Although some of the theory will come from this book, Understanding Machine Learning, and I will stick to this book in those parts very precisely. A lot will come from Pattern Recognition and Machine Learning by Chris Bishop. A fantastic book. If you don't have it, you probably should. Some will come from the famous Deep Learning book by Goodfellow, Benjo, and Corville. Although, I don't know if you need it for this class. I will also dig through David McKay's book, Information Theory, Inference, and Learning Algorithms, which is available online as a PDF free of charge if you want it. But I myself have a couple of copies, hard copies. And another book with a cheesy title, but surprisingly good, is called Data Science for Business. So if academic machine learning classes is all that you took and you never actually worked in a real applied project in industry where you needed to solve data science problem with machine learning, then before your interviews, if you're thinking about working in industry, you should absolutely read that book. I will use it closer to the end of the class. You don't need to have it unless you feel like my description makes you want to buy it or download it or whatever. So that's it for the class. That's what we're going to use in the class. That's what we're going to do. I hope that's clear. We will find out. If it's not, you will ask me questions in our office hours or the official timing of the class.